Started. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another SGSO Network member highlight. My name is Daniel Barrero Ortega. And as a reminder, these SGSO Network member highlights are short interviews where we get to know members of the network and really get a snapshot of how they came into this work and what does their work look like. Again, I'm Daniel Barrero Ortega, Program Specialist at the SGSO Network. And who else is in the room with me?
I'm Reggie Jones, and I am the Director of Curriculum and Professional Development at LifeLab. And if you don't know about LifeLab, we are a nonprofit that focuses on the intersection of creating a love of nourishing food, learning, and the outdoors with young people. We've been doing that for about 40 years. We're based out of Santa Cruz, California, so that's where I'm joining you all from today. And I'm really excited to be here. And we also have
I'm Eric Byers. I am the Environmental Literacy Educational Specialist for Henrico County Public Schools. We are just north of Richmond, Virginia.
Oh.
Perfect. Well, I'm so glad to be here with you, Daniel, and you, Eric. And we're going to get started with our interview questions. So, our first question is to start, tell us about your organization and role. Where are you located, and how long have you been doing it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Henrico County Public Schools has about 50,000 students. We have roughly 74 schools and buildings, and something like, I think it's around 4,500 teachers. So we're a relatively large county, not the largest ever, but we're a decent sized county, which affords us the opportunity to have roles like mine. So I am the Environmental Literacy Educational Specialist. I also work quite a bit with sustainability and outdoor learning, and I really work on kind of integrating that into the K through 12 kind of curriculum. I also do a fair amount of professional learning. I end up with kind of some passion projects and student projects like helping students design school gardens. Um, and honestly, all things kind of outdoor learning and working with teachers and students. It's a really, really cool job that I have that I get to do.
It's so great to hear about kind of the little pockets that you work in and all the ways that you support students. But we'd like to hear a little bit about what your background is. How did you discover working with students in gardens or the outdoors as a career field?
So I started as an earth science teacher at Highland Springs High School, which is one of our local high schools in Henrico County. And I taught there for 9 years. I really started outdoor learning through um, just honestly trying to give my students another opportunity, right? And so every year I'd write kind of a little micro grant to take my students canoeing on the James River, and we go to the wetlands nearby, and we take the students into the wetlands and we talk about it, and really give them like a really cool experience to kind of connect back to that. Through that, I was able to really advocate for outdoor learning across the district through becoming an earth science curriculum writer. And then when I received Teacher of the Year in 2021 for Henrico County, I was able to advocate and say, this is why it's so important. We're talking mental health, but we're also talking about really true engagement of the students. Um, when I left the classroom, I became the secondary science specialist. Did that for a year. It was fun, but it wasn't really getting back to the core of what I really like to do, which is getting students outside and getting them to kind of engage in different ways. And so that's when I transitioned into my current role, supporting environmental literacy, which, like I said, it's just a blast.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I think you named basically every single facet of why school gardens and outdoor education is so important. It's like experiential learning, right? Right? Like you can you can teach students, okay, here's the environment where we should care for it, but unless they have a connection with it, they're like, well, sure, like I know about a butterfly, but why should I create an ecosystem or care about native pollinators without actually seeing what it looks like and really experiencing it? So that's really amazing. Congratulations on Teacher of the Year. That's a really big honor. And it's really awesome to also hear how you slowly moved from being with the students and then slowly transitioned to affecting kind of like larger scale changes. So I'm curious to know, and this is both as your experience as an educator as well as being now in more of an administrative role. How do school gardens and outdoor education connect to sustainability initiatives in your school, projects, district efforts? What do those bridges look like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So school gardens are such a great entry point to outdoor learning and being able to help students kind of get their hands dirty, right? If you think about like a school garden is almost this model of sustainability where you can talk about composting, food cycles, pollinator support, responsible resource use. And then the cool thing is teachers are and with some support are able to really kind of dive into some curriculum connections. So you don't have to limit it to science with things like ecosystems and life cycles, but you can do measurement with science, data tracking. You can do some journalism or journaling, excuse me, environmental literature, or you can even talk about it from kind of a social studies lens of kind of that civic responsibility, land use, agriculture, community food systems. There's so many connections that school gardens really provide you the ability to go deeper, right? And you can't do that unless you first make that connection and you help students to really see, okay, this is something that I can do and I can kind of dive into it.
Awesome, thank you. Absolutely, absolutely. They're an entry. They're the first sip of the Kool-Aid, of the flavor aid of connecting caring to the outdoors. Makes me think of that one passage. I don't know if you've read it, and I don't remember exactly who wrote it, but basically saying, again, student we can teach we can teach students to protect something they don't care about, right? And they have to form a connection before we shift the burden of care to them.
My favorite quote. I use it all the time during teacher professional learning.
Exactly.
That's David Sobel.
It's it's such a good one. Everybody, I feel like every teacher in general, because we want students to care, but we also don't want them to be like stressed out about um being the sole saviors of the environment.
Yeah.
Right? So thank you for sharing all of this. And as this movement, both the school garden movement and outdoor education and shifting education from really being classroom based to project based education, um, when folks are looking to get deeper into this topic, whether it be a teacher or maybe someone that is looking to pivot in their career, um, what advice would you give them in navigating that space and finding the place they fit in?
Yeah, there's so many facets of that, right? I mean, I think probably the most important is understanding that it's okay to start small and start building what you have kind of intentionally and then building it up, right? Everything starts with kind of that one small pilot program. Somewhere in Henrico County, there was that first school garden, right? And now we have over 50 school gardens, which is fantastic, right? But it had to start with that one. I think it's also really important to make sure that the school gardens are connecting back to curriculum, right? Because ultimately you're going to have, people in my role or an administrator who's coming by and saying, okay, so how are you connecting this back to your curriculum? And if you build that out intentionally from the start and say, well, we are measuring the growth of the plants and we're talking about the plant life cycles, you already have that kind of built in. Another kind of one that or philosophy that I really bank on is celebrating progress and celebrating success, right? We oftentimes we sit there and we look at everyone's kind of, their front page, right? But we don't look deeper and see all the work that kind of took to get there. And that's what we're most accustomed to. But if we're celebrating success and hitting these key points along the way, I think it's a great way to make sure that we are, you know, honestly continuing to be able to do this sustainably.
Yeah, sustainability is such a key part when we're talking about new people coming into the school garden movement. But sustainability often means that the person who's currently in the role, has something to, pass down to the people who are coming behind them. So, to that end, I'd love to ask, are there any final thoughts or exciting things in your organization that you want to share?
Yeah, we have a lot of really cool things coming to Henrico County that I can't wait to kind of share with a lot of people. Obviously, we're joining kind of the Virginia push for environmental literacy plans and really defining what does environmental literacy look like for our classrooms and sustainability. But also, we have an environmental education living building that's soon to be a thing, right? It's right along the James River, and it's going to be kind of this beacon of environmental literacy, um, honestly, across the region and hopefully across the state. It's going to be really cool. There's going to be about 4.5 acres of agriculture there. It's going to have a green roof. It's going to have solar panels and all sorts of really, really cool things, right? And the fun part is that, I get to actually help students learn through the building. So I'm really excited about that, and hopefully you'll hear more about that kind of as the building is constructed.
Wow, that's so special, like a whole building just, dedicated to this work. That's really cool. Thank you so much for sharing with us and the network about your journey in the school garden movement. It's been really cool to hear about your expertise. I really appreciate how you kind of share your story in a succinct but exciting way. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and also this building being built right next to the James River, which is the river that you took your students to once upon a time, feels like a really big full circle moment. And that's really beautiful. So I just wanted to echo everything that Reggie said. And definitely, the network is here to support getting the word out about this really amazing work that you continue to do. Thank you again so much. All of the information on Henrico County, as well as any other relevant links, we will share at the SGSO Network website. This recording will be housed in our recording library. So definitely check out. At this point, I just call them the show notes. This is not, we keep saying this is not a podcast, and it just keeps feeling like it's a podcast. But they will be linked, all the relevant links and information will be in the post on our recording library. So again, thank you so much, Eric. Super excited to hear about these upcoming projects. Definitely will help get those out to the network. And thank you everybody that's watching this in the future. So until our next member highlight, take care, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.